Thank you for joining us for this special edition of Wake Up West Texas. I'm Matthew Alvarez. As of 10 o'clock last night, the Odessa Police Department have confirmed that 5 people were fatally shot, 26 were injured in a mass shooting yesterday. One of those who were fatally shot was a port of law enforcement, including actually 3 of those. 1 MPD officer, 1 Odessa Police Department officer, both of them shot at the Synergy in Odessa. We also have a DPS trooper who was shot yesterday along Interstate 20 off of 1788 between Midland and Odessa. Now, of course, we do have the video of law enforcement taking down the gunman over at Synergy in Odessa. Let's take a look here. This is the moment that the USPS vehicle that he did hijack, a Dodge van here, crashed into an OPD officer's vehicle, and that's when the officers swarmed the vehicle. At this time, that is when police say 1 MPD officer, 1 OPD officer were shot in this. That is when they swarmed the vehicle, and the suspect ended up being killed. He's been partially identified as a white man in his 30s. That is when they swarmed the vehicle here. This, again, is viewer footage sent into the CBS 7 Facebook page here. Let's take a look, listen to some other video, another angle here.
Get down, get down. I'm down. Get down.
And that right there was about a count of 40 shots fired between officers and the shooter himself that ended up with the shooter being killed, who was involved in this mass shooting. Let's go ahead and head out now to Odessa Synergy, where we were just showing you the video. CBS 7 Shane Battis has been tracking this situation there this morning and joins us now live. Shane, what do you see out there this morning?
Good morning. I'm here over at the Odessa Synergy movie theaters, where investigators are still on scene looking at this postal truck over here at the site of the final shooting where the gunman was killed. Now I'm going to go ahead and step to the side so you can take a better look at the scene for yourself. Now, as you can see, that postal truck that was stolen is badly beaten. It's been rammed on the side and there's bullet holes in it. This is where that gunman got into a confrontation with shooters where he was killed, but in that meantime he had shot 1 OPD officer and 1 MPD officer. Now, as investigators are continuing this and trying to figure out a little bit more about this suspect and who this man is, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the timeline of this shooting. Now, so far as we know, this all began earlier in the afternoon and began with a traffic stop around 3 p.m. At that point, a DPS trooper had pulled over this man, and that's when he opened fire. He had shot that DPS trooper and shot at several civilians before he sped away. Now, at that point, that was just the very beginning of a long string of shootings going all over the city. And at that point, he had kept driving, and he shot at civilians on East Loop 338 and I-20. Now, later on, he continued into the city of Odessa and seemed to shoot at pretty much anyone he could find, just random people. We saw some cars that had been hit, as well as several people. And down the street, we found a mail carrier woman who had been shot, and that is at the point where he had stolen this truck and started driving around yet again, trying to shoot at more people. He was driving up and down 191, firing randomly again, until, of course, they finished up here. He arrived at the Odessa Synergy, where he got into that confrontation with those officers and came to an end. Now, like I said before, investigators are still trying to figure out a little bit more about this suspect, as are we. At this point, we only know that it's a Caucasian male in his 30s, but at this point, we do not have a name or an identity. And for now, reporting live in Odessa, Shane Battis, CBS 7 News.
Of course, and like Shane said, there are spots throughout 42nd Street onto 191 where police are still investigating. We showed you some new video earlier of Freedom Buick over off 42nd Street and 191. Now, many residents in both Midland and Odessa witnessed that shooter yesterday afternoon, leaving them with moments they will likely soon never forget. CBS 7's Haley Harrison sat down with Shauna Saxton, an Odessa woman who was out driving with her family this Labor Day weekend when she locked eyes with the shooter while she was being chased. She brings us moments from this raw, emotional interview.
Pop, 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 but it was loud, and you could feel the percussion. Is that what it's called? And I said to Dan, I'm like, did that car just backfire? And he was like confused because it didn't really sound like a car backfiring. And oh God. I looked over my shoulder to left, and the gold car pulled up, and the man was there, and he had a very large gun, and it was pointing at me. I started yelling at my husband. I was yelling at him, but I was just like, there's a gun, he's got a gun, there's a gun. And that's when it hit me what those sounds were. And then he was looking at me, I saw his face. I saw that weapon, and the only thing I could think about is my little grandson in the back seat. I just thought, oh my God, what if something happened to him? And then my next thought is, oh my gosh, what if he shoots somebody else at that light? And I couldn't help them. I couldn't warn them. I couldn't. And frankly, at the moment, I was just really running for my life. And we came back home, and all this time we're trying to process what this guy was doing. And then we find out that it was a random shooter. And we got really lucky today. It's almost like becoming surreal. It's only been a couple of hours, and I already feel like, did that really happen? Did that really just happen? And then I go through it in my mind, and I think, oh my gosh, I saw him. I saw that gun coming up to the window towards me. And it's real. Somebody tried to kill me today. They weren't successful, but I was their target. And now I'm just like, what do you do with that? How do you process that? You know, and what if he shot? What if I hadn't reacted enough and something had happened to Dan or to my grandson? I'd seriously have to be medicated, I think. I don't know, but that's not what happened. What happened is I'm still here, and I'm just dealing with the fact that there's some pretty sick people in society who are doing some seriously bad things to hurt people. And how do you stop them?
Right here in Odessa.
Right here. It's happening right here. It's not just in New York anymore. It's not just in Chicago anymore. It's in Texas, where everybody's friendly and, you know, everybody should have each other's backs and things. We've got these people that are nuts. I don't want to sound rude, but he's nuts. And the look on his face was, he was not self-possessed. I'm not giving him an excuse, please. I'm just saying he wasn't methodical. It wasn't a methodical thing. He was just randomly trying to kill whoever he could kill.
And that was Haley Harrison reporting, obviously a very raw, emotional interview there. Now, we want to recap this entire shooting that happened yesterday in Odessa, mass shooting in Odessa. According to DPS, at around 3 o'clock, a little after 3 o'clock yesterday, a DPS trooper tried to conduct a traffic stop on a gold passenger vehicle, a gold sedan off of Interstate 20 westbound near mile marker 131. And prior to that vehicle coming to a complete stop, it hadn't even stopped yet. The driver then pointed a rifle towards the back of the vehicle, shooting through his back window all the way into the DPS patrol unit, ended up hitting that DPS officer, but he's in stable condition. Of course, as we know this morning, the patrol unit was occupied by 2 troopers. Of course, like I said, 1 was hit. Now, of course, many people around the community are wanting to help and coming together to help, including the Odessa community. And CBS 7's Sayla Alvarez joins us now live from a blood drive. Sayla, what are you seeing out there right now?
Good morning, Matthew. I am in Midland, just right outside a center that will be receiving blood donations. I am right now with Carla, the public relation officer for Vitalent, this center that will be receiving donations. Carla, can you talk to us a little bit about the procedure?
Absolutely. It's not as bad as people think it is, first off. So when you want to come in, the procedure is very simple. You'll answer a few questions about your medication and your health, and then go back, and the whole procedure altogether doesn't take but about 20 to 40 minutes, depending on what all's going on. But it's very simple, and if you have a fear of needles, we always tell people just think about the people who need blood, and it doesn't seem so bad. So it's a holiday weekend. We do want to encourage everyone who wants to donate to please consider doing it now. We've got the hurricane coming in Florida, so there's going to be a lot of blood needs in the nation.
Carla, what are the requirements for people who are wanting to donate blood?
They have to be 17 or older, 16 or 17 with a parent's permission. They need to weigh 110 pounds, and the rest of of it is a questionnaire they can do online. We have a fast track that they can answer all the questions. It lets them know the requirements. It lets them know what they can and can't do before they donate, and that's the quickest way to do it, and that saves about 20 minutes in center.
So I know we talked about this a little bit earlier. You suggested for people to make appointments. Why is this?
Well, the reason is because obviously we have a finite number of seats and, personnel, so we can only do so many people. And we don't want people to spend their day standing around and waiting. So if they'll make an appointment, we can honor their time and get them in and get them out, still get the blood needed that we need for the patients, and then that helps everybody out if they'll make an appointment.
At what time will this be starting, and what time can people come and start, coming to donate blood?
8 o'clock this morning. 8 o'clock we're getting open and ready now. We just brought a bus in so we can accommodate more people than just the center. It's here by the center, so we'll be able to hopefully accommodate everyone who wants to help.
A good phone number where people can call?
It's 432-520-4592.
What about a website?
Vitalant, VITALANT.org, and they can go in there and find donate and make their appointment online.
Thank you so much, Carla.
Thank you.
We're heading back. We head back to the studio reporting from Midland, Texas. Seila Valderas, back to CBS 7.
And of course, it is the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, so you are able to go and make an appointment, 4706 Midkiff in Midland, of course. Now, meanwhile, other people are helping out as well via GoFundMe pages. Those have been set up for one of them, the 17-month-old who was hit by a bullet shrapnel during the shooting spree yesterday. The page says that the little girl, Anderson Davis, was hit in the chest and face. Davis's mother wrote on the page in part, quote, "Anderson is alive, and that is a prayer answered bigger than I've ever had to pray. Her vitals are good. She's being flown to Lubbock while we drive. Not getting to fly with her is beyond painful," she says on that GoFundMe page. And she goes on to ask for community members to pray for Anderson and others who are facing pain because of this tragedy. Now, another GoFundMe page has also been set up, this one for Midland Police Officer Zach Owens. He was also shot over at Synergy in Odessa, as well as an Odessa Police Department officer. According to the donation page, Owens was shot multiple times in the arm and hand. A family member says Owens also has glass shards in his eye, which is his most serious injury. Like I said, an Odessa Police Department officer, Texas State DPS trooper were also shot yesterday during the mass shooting. Luckily, the DPS trooper in non-life-threatening condition. Now, as we told you a little earlier, the gunman stole a USPS worker's van, who we know was fatally shot. We spoke with the woman who didn't show her face about what happened there and what she saw.
Maribel Phillips, MARIBEL PHILLIPS.
And then you're a resident who lives right over here?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me what you saw and when exactly this happened?
Okay, I don't know exactly what time it was, but we were just coming home from Subway, came into the street on Adams where I live, and noticed a lady on the ground in front of a car, a gold car. The window was broken out, so I thought maybe she had been run over. So I put my car in park and I jumped out thinking maybe she needed CPR or something. When I had walked up to her, she was already gone. So that's when I started walking to my car, and the people that were huddled, crying, told me to get in my car and go home because there was an active shooter still on the street.
And can you tell me about what you saw on the ground? What did she look like? What condition was she in?
She was already deceased. She had been shot in the head. Was bleeding. It was awful. Yeah, and she was pale.
Did you see or hear the gunshots or
no?
Everything was gone by then.
Yeah.
And was she wearing a uniform?
She was the mail carrier. Mm-hmm.
Did you talk to any your neighbors who saw or heard the shots or anything?
No, just the people that were standing right there crying. That's why I had gotten down, because I thought maybe, she had been hit by that car. So I got down to see if I could give her CPR or something. And that's when they told me, get in your car, someone just shot her in the head, and he's still loose.
Who told you that, a neighbor or police?
The lady that was crying. I don't even know who she is. I don't know. It wasn't her. It was some older lady. I don't know who it was.
Okay. And I guess, kind of a crazy question, but like, I mean, what's like your reaction to all this? Like, what was like going through your mind like when you saw this happen? What was realized what was happening?
I got scared once I saw that she had been shot in the head. I was really scared because they told me that the shooter was still active on our block. So I just got the girls in the car and came home and ran inside and locked the doors, you know, and just waited.
Absolutely. And then. Okay.
And it took a little bit, you know, before the cops came. So I don't know who called the cops.
Absolutely. And so, I guess what was I going to say? Have you? I was trying to think of what you need to ask for this kind of situation, but since then, have you spoken to the police or like anyone else who's giving you any more information about what happened over here?
No, they said that the detective would be by to speak to me in a little bit since I did get down and see her.
Hi. Good evening, sir.
What news media are you with?
I'm with the CBS 7 News.
CBS 7.
Okay, so all right, gotta get going pretty soon. But I was going to ask you, I guess, what do you think of this? Apparently, what we found out so far, we're trying to confirm more information that about 5 people have been killed, 20 injured. There was shooting over at the Synergy. We're trying to confirm a little bit more. We believe a state trooper was shot, and that pretty much there was 1 or 2 people driving around just shooting random people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I hope that they've caught everybody that's already been shooting people, but you know, it's hard to believe that only one person is doing all the shooting. You know, because that's what somebody else told me, that one person was doing all the shooting.
I believe it's 2.
Two?
That's what we understand.
Well, I hope they do catch the people that are, you know, doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I want to ask you, do you have any idea who that woman was?
I don't know.
Have you ever seen her before?
Well, I've seen her in my area because, you know, I live right there, so I've seen her. She's delivered mail to my house before, but I've never spoken to her. Mm-hmm.
And okay. And your daughters they were with you when you found?
Yes, yeah, because we were just coming home from having lunch, and I got down, but I didn't realize that my youngest daughter, had gotten down and followed me, so she also saw the lady.
Absolutely. And so, what was I going to say next? So what time was this? Did you say?
What time was it?
It was around 2.
No.
Yes, it was around 2.
Was it?
Because when we went inside, I checked my phone and it said 2, 2:30, 2:20, one of the two.
Yeah, it was.
I know it was 2 though.
It was close to 3 because I remember it was
Close to 3?
late. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And okay, I think that's a lot of just kind of what I can think of, I guess. Any others kind of thoughts or reactions on just this situation as a whole?
No, it's really sad that, from my understanding, it was a traffic stop, that a traffic stop has to come to this, you know. People are crazy nowadays, you just don't ever know, you know. Everybody has to be safe, including the people that protect us, you know. I just pray that peace for the whole world, that's all.
Absolutely.
That this madness stops, so that's it.
All right, well,
It really is quite impactful to hear from witnesses who had to witness something so tragic, so brutal that happened here in the city of Odessa, of course. Now, something else that's really impactful to hear is the officials, the law enforcement, the first responders who were trying to get all of this chaos under control and get the threat under some sort of a containment. Now, we want to show you, listen on some scanner that we were listening to yesterday. It's quite impactful hearing all the chaos that goes into how law enforcement are communicating with each other. Take a listen to this scanner audio.
Oh, I'm in. 2350 before I'm hit. Eastbound, and there's nothing. I'm in, headquarters. Just past no fitting west. Turn around and go with them. There's just a vehicle behind the Synergy. 3105, get the Bearcat towards Synergy. I got EGD and GPS out here with me. I'm going to run you here. For a chest pain. 2354, where you at? My address says Wesley 250. You got any more information on that? We have any more shooters to be looking for right now? Negative, choose no right now. I believe this is going to be our individuals. I had Engine 3 call me. Give me a status on our people. Also with... Everybody over here, my scene 4. I got Garcia and myself. What's scene 4? Affirmative said 812 Trinidad. Where is 2354? You think that's right, please? 1452, we're going to push up and confirm that he's deceased. C10. Printer desk, the general smoke detector. Don't be in a rush. Make sure you've got plenty of personnel and plenty of coverage. We don't need to rush up on this.
We got GPS up here with a semi-trailer. We're not quite through it yet, but I
We're working
believe
on
it's going to be
crossfire
okay.
with the GPS. Coordinating everything. We just need to catch
we're
half mile west. Everybody just needs to take the good. Is that 2354? Is he
Command to all units, priority traffic. The suspect, the active shooter, is going to be in a white Dodge mail truck, a postal truck.
1452, you got a shield to the vehicle to check.
Stand by. We're going to clear the vehicle. We got 3 elements over here. Stand by. Everybody let the priority element go first. Last known location was towards Odessa. Over towards 191. But be advised, it is a white Dodge mail truck. Keep your eyes up.
They're in mad crossfire. We need them out.
I've got who's in here.
Helicopter stated there to Midland and one to Odessa to transport out.
Command, copy. Thank you, C2. C10 from the command. I believe maybe a DPS took our patient here from a Alvarez truck. We got no patient here. We got sheriff and the DPS van and vehicles here. So. Copy. All units looking for a patient. We're getting multiple calls. I think we're just taking it around. Everybody return to Viking pool staging.
If you're not actively engaged in this, cover everything else. Get our people out of the way. Get our citizens out of the way.
Viking.
Look for something
I believe
else.
that DPS that just passed us had a patient looking possibly.
Cars, you got primary.
We believe that the negative, that DPS officer just left from this location.
Where's our shooter at? We need cars
Maybe
going
he's
in
not
different
west to help
directions.
with active shooter.
The shooter that I shot at, the shot is behind Synergy. They're checking on it now. I believe he's going to be EOS.
This is going to be our mail truck. Unknown on the other vehicles. There is another vehicle.
Unclear on that. Why are we got a line going eastbound into Midland? We've got poor communication between agencies involved. Okay, our Synergy is in Midland, or is it the Synergy on 191? Okay, I got the comms, guys. It's Synergy on 191 in Odessa. One suspect is down, in custody. 10-4. One guy's been shot, and he's down, but we don't know if there's another one on the loose. Stand by. Okay, get us EMS to roll in here too, guys. Everybody else, we don't need any more units at the Synergy right now. I need units to head to MCH. We had calls of a shot fired. Go check it.
EMS 1 and this
9766. I will take MCH. M4, we're at MCH as well.
We are en route back to your location.
Of course, it really is surreal to hear that kind of a situation underway in our hometown here in Odessa, in Midland, Odessa area. Now, of course, law enforcement, first responders, as well as medical personnel trained for these kind of incidences like this. Unfortunately, sometimes they had to use that training. Now, yesterday, Medical Center Health System held a press conference with CEO Russell Tippin, who just started a couple weeks ago, as well as Matt Collins, the incident command officer there, as well as Sudeep Bose, who is an ER physician with Medical Center Hospital, as well as an Iraqi war veteran. Now, they spoke on the preparation and say that this was thankfully could have been worse, but as it weren't for their training. Take a listen.
How many doctors were called in?
Several. We called in
a lot.
So we had our basic emergency department crew, and then on top of that, we have backup emergency department crew. But often you have to figure out the bottlenecks in your system, and this came from our preparation. The bottleneck may not be the emergency room; it may be the operating room, the anesthesiologist. So we prepared this in advance. Everybody was called in, from extra nurses, extra techs, extra, custodians. They may save more lives than anybody by preventing infection. So this is a team effort, and we were prepared for this, and the whole team was called in.
And of course, like he just said, the training there was very vital to this scene. Now, we're taking a look at a scene along 42nd and JBS. That is a lot where the hotspot of this yesterday's activity was. You can see here first responders going code 3 through several intersections, causing quite a traffic backup yesterday. One of the many different crime scenes in the gunman's massive shooting spree throughout the city of Odessa. We heard from one witness who was there along 42nd and JBS at the time that shots rang out.
I just happened to look to the left, saw a gold sedan or tan sedan, AR-15 barrel sticking out, firing, and just about that same time, at that same time I was looking left, I saw a bullet hole come out of the truck next to me, out of his bedside. So, man, honestly, I'm surprised we didn't get hit one way or another on my truck, or even us. My coworker's with me, he ducked down. First time being in an experience like this, it's pretty surreal and scary at the same time, and seeing that little baby get injured one way or another. I don't know the exact situation with her. I got 2 little ones at home, and it's a scary thing to think about.
It really is a scary thing to think about, just like he said there. Now, we want to give you a quick update again, quick rundown of what we know right now. Medical Center Hospital has released some new information this morning, about 45 minutes ago, saying that they took in 14 patients at Medical Center. 1 of them is being in critical condition, 3 are in serious condition, while 3 are in serious, while 7 are in fair condition, I should say. 1 was treated and released. 1 pediatric patient, which we just heard from that witness had spoke about, under the age of 2, was sent to Lubbock for treatment, and 1 person was pronounced dead over at Medical Center Hospital. Now, overnight, there were no new deaths at Medical Center. Midland Memorial Hospital saying they have received 7 patients, conditions of those unknown. Now, Medical Center Hospital also released a statement following the shooting, calling it a tragic day. In part, the statement says, quote, "It is a day West Texas will never forget, and we urge this community and the nation to come together in prayer." The statement goes on to read, quote, "Our hospital has seen an incredible amount of food donations for patients, families, and staff. We've seen blood and supplies donated to make sure every patient is taken care of," end quote. Now, the hospital also says this shows the community is already coming together in the healing process, and that is starting now. Now, Ector County ISD, they themselves released a statement yesterday evening saying, quote, "We are heartbroken and outraged by the violence that struck our community and our school district yesterday. We are learning that we have lost friends, family members, as well as one of our students. Our lives have been changed forever," end quote. The district also thanked the ECISD Police Department and first responders. Ector County ISD is also offering counselors to students, staff, and families throughout this tragedy. Now, some new information coming into the newsroom just minutes ago. We're being told that Golden Corral is offering free buffet meals today to all first responders. So that's just a little bit of tidbit of help in the community coming together, of course. Now, the community, like I said, is coming together. There was several blood drives. There's a blood drive going on at Vitalent in Midland. There's several things people are trying to do to help in this situation, of course. Now, there's several people have reached out. There's a lot of politicians that were speaking out over this. The community was coming together to help. Sayla Alvarez, well, of course, was over at the blood drive in Midland. Do we have Sayla right now? Okay, Sayla, we were about to join Sayla over in Midland. Of course, like I said, the community jumping into action there. Yesterday, there was a lot of reaction. Even Vice President Mike Pence spoke after arriving at Camp David, saying he had spoke to the president. They are offering federal assistance. Let's go ahead and see how it is going in Midland as the blood drive there just started about the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. Sayla Alvarez joins us now with CBS 7. Sayla, how's it going out there this morning?
Good morning, Matthew. That's right. We're just right outside the Vitalent Center. As you can see right in back of me, the bus blood drive has already arrived. We're right here, and I'm actually with one of the first donors, Sean. Sean arrived this morning around 8 this morning. He was actually one of the first donors. Sean, can you talk to us a little bit about how has this impacted you?
Well, we were on lockdown at the house. We were going to let the kids leave. As soon as we heard about all the shootings, we decided to come give blood. We called around yesterday. Nobody was accepting. As soon as we found out we were able to come this morning, we signed up and scheduled us an appointment.
What brought you out here?
Just the need. Everybody's got blood. Everybody needs blood. So mine's rare in the fact that it doesn't have some antigen in it. So it's always needed, especially for younger cases. So that's what it was. Just the need. Everybody's got a responsibility.
Sean, as a father, how could you describe this?
It was terrifying. If it had been one of my children, I don't know what I would have done. It would have been devastating.
Okay, right on this side, I have Carla. We're going to talk a little bit about the requirements again for people who are wanting to donate. Can you tell me a little bit about the requirements?
Sure. You only have to weigh over 110 pounds and be healthy. You can be on medications and you can have certain medical conditions and still donate. So don't assume just because you have something that you cannot. So check with us, come in and see us, and we'll let you. The immediate needs have been met. That does not mean we don't need blood donations. So I don't want anyone to misconstrue that. Blood that is used will have to be replaced, and we are certainly not done using blood at the hospitals for this incident. So I don't want anyone to assume that we're all good on blood. We do need people to still come down and donate.
Number, website that people can call or visit?
Absolutely. They can go to vitalent.org, or they can call locally 432-520-4592 and make an appointment. That will keep them from having to stand in line and wait. We do not have a line yet, so feel free to come on down and get ready and start donating, and you can absolutely save a life.
Matthew, this is the information we have right now. We'll head back to the studio.
Sayla Valdez reporting now. We're looking again at a video from yesterday we got from our CBS 7 Facebook page. The moment the USPS vehicle that was hijacked by the accused mass shooter in this incident was rammed into an OPD officer. An MPD officer tried to stop him, and this is where gunfire erupted here next to Synergy Odessa, causing quite a bit of chaos there. Patrons are running for their lives, laying down in the field next to it as they hear gunshots there. Of course, we know that the suspect, a white male in his 30s, was shot and killed after this. Take a listen to this next video here.
Down, I'm down. Get down.
Really some disturbing video there. Around 40 shots were fired between OPD and PD who were responding there, as well as some other agencies. But you can see there the damaged OPD vehicle and USPS vehicle that was involved in this, that was hijacked. A USPS worker apparently killed because of the hijacking. And of course, that information is still coming into the newsroom this morning. That scene, by the way, we showed you. CBS 7 Shane Battis was out there a little earlier, showing us that the scene is still very active. Those two vehicles are still where they sat yesterday. And of course, many residents in both Midland and Odessa witnessed that shooter. We heard from a few of them yesterday afternoon, leaving them with moments that they will likely soon never forget. Our CBS 7's Haley Harrison actually sat down with Shauna Saxton, an Odessa woman who was out driving with her family over the Labor Day weekend yesterday when she locked eyes with the shooter while she was being chased. She brings us moments from this raw, emotional interview.
Pop, 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 but it was loud, and you could feel the percussion. Is that what it's called? And I said to Dan, I'm like, did that car just backfire? And he was like confused because it didn't really sound like a car backfiring. And oh God. I looked over my shoulder to left, and the gold car pulled up, and the man was there, and he had a very large gun, and it was pointing at me. I started yelling at my husband. I was yelling at him, but I was just like, there's a gun, he's got a gun, there's a gun. And that's when it hit me what those sounds were. And then he was looking at me. I saw his face. I saw that weapon, and the only thing I could think about was my little grandson in the back seat. I just thought, oh my God, what if something happened to him? And then my next thought is, oh my gosh, what if he shoots somebody else at that light? And I couldn't help them. I couldn't warn them. I couldn't. And frankly, at the moment, I was just really running for my life. And we came back home, and all this time we're trying to process what this guy was doing. And then we find out that it was a random shooter. And we got really lucky today. It's almost like becoming surreal. It's only been a couple of hours, and I already feel like, did that really happen? Did that really just happen? And then I go through it in my mind, and I think, oh my gosh, I saw him. I saw that gun coming up to the window towards me. And it's real. Somebody tried to kill me today. They weren't successful, but I was their target. And now I'm just like, what do you do with that? How do you process that? You know, and what if he shot? What if I hadn't reacted enough and something had happened to Dan or to my grandson? I'd seriously have to be medicated, I think. I don't know, but that's not what happened. What happened is I'm still here, and I'm just dealing with the fact that there's some pretty sick people in society who are doing some seriously bad things to hurt people. And how do you stop them?
Right here in Odessa.
Right here. It's happening right here. It's not just in New York anymore. It's not just in Chicago anymore. It's in Texas, where everybody's friendly and, you know, everybody should have each other's backs and things. We've got these people that are nuts. I don't want to sound rude, but he's nuts. And the look on his face was, he was not self-possessed. I'm not giving him an excuse, please. I'm just saying he wasn't methodical. It wasn't a methodical thing. He was just randomly trying to kill whoever he could kill.
It really is utterly unrealistic to listen to a witness testimony like that, knowing it is in your hometown. And as you awake on this Sunday morning before the Labor Day holiday tomorrow, many are waking up to headlines like this. This sums it up right here. Heartbreak, 5 dead, 21 injured, of course now 26 as we know. This is a headline that many are waking up to in the Odessa American across the area right now. This is what's happened in our town. Of course, CBS 7 will continue our live coverage of a mass shooting in Odessa. You're watching a special edition of Wake Up West Texas. We will be right back.